All right, that was Jo compete. That's Jaeoh. I think there's two H's if the one H doesn't work. You can go on all streaming platforms to find that. Phenomenal song. It deserves a lot more credit than what it's getting currently. But let's get into tonight's podcast. Are you being manipulated? I know that there are a lot of guys who fall victim to being called a narcissist. Now, whenever a woman doesn't like something that you do or something that is being said, or if you display some type of selfish behavior, you are usually called a narcissist. Now, a lot of people may not know what a narcissist is. And what is a narcissist? Well, narcissism is a mental disorder, right? A narcissist, one of the biggest things that you will know about a narcissist is narcissism. Narcissists really lack empathy. And that's what will separate a narcissist from someone who is, uh, a selfish person, right? Because there's like a thin line between someone who's selfish and someone who's a narcissist, right? For example, a lack of empathy is, for example, if you come to me and tell me that my my mother died and I'm really sad right now, and you say, do you think I need a haircut, right? Or do you say, oh man, I'm really sorry to hear that. But do you still want to go to the movies? You know, narcissists are usually overachievers. They're usually people that are really successful. Why? Because they don't let anything or anyone or anyone's emotions get in the way of what they're trying to accomplish. Now, you can say that's associated with mental fortitude. You can say that is associated with, having good focus. And just a little fact, I think less than 2% of society are narcissists, according to statistics, right? So chances are when you're being called a narcissist and you're being manipulated, we'll get into that in a second, to think that you're a narcissist, most likely that's not the case. Now, women love to say this. Now, a lot of women attract narcissists. Why do they do that? Because narcissists have selfish tendencies. And people that are selfish are usually focused on themselves. They usually have an alpha mentality, and they have some type of drive. They have some type of focus. And narcissists are usually overachievers. So somebody that is focused on their path, focused on their purpose, is they're a little selfish, right? And they put a scarcity on their time because they're not going to put that woman first. So what you'll see is a lot of women tend to attract selfish men, and less than 2% of society suffer from this mental disorder, which is called narcissism, right? So you'll have a lot of people that will use the word, or even if they say, okay, if they settle for you not being a narcissist, they'll say, he has narcissistic traits. Having narcissistic traits doesn't mean you have a mental disorder, because when you say narcissism, that's what we're talking about here. We are talking about a mental disorder. And what you'll find is anything that women usually don't like, if you show any type of selfish tendency, they'll call you a narcissist, right? Now, one thing that you have to understand about where this becomes a problem is a lot of men are being manipulated. A lot of men are being manipulated um, by using this word. For example, I had in this conversation that I had with a guy who booked a private consultation tonight sparked this whole fucking podcast. This was the highlight for the topic tonight. So I'm talking to this young kid, and he's a young kid. He's like 18 years old, right? And he says that, I'm talking to this girl, and she says that I'm a narcissist. And I'm like, well, why does she say that? She says, because I lack empathy, and and I gaslight. And I'm like, okay, well, I hadn't heard this before. But as he starts to tell me, and then he says that, well, she says that it's manipulation because narcissists, they She read something online where it says narcissists will prolong the talking stage, right? She said that narcissists will prolong the talking stage, and she says because you have all these other similar qualities of a narcissist, you suffer from narcissism, and because you're prolonging the talking stage, right? Now, she probably got this advice from somebody who didn't know what the fuck they were talking about, right? And not realizing, or even if she is, she's saying that this guy has a mental disorder. When you call someone a narcissist, you are saying that they have a mental disorder. Narcissism is a mental disorder. So this young girl is telling him, because you are prolonging the talking stage, because that's tendencies that what narcissists do. They prolong the talking stage, and and that's what you're doing. So he says, why does she do this? I'm like, well, first of all, that's not narcissism, right? If someone doesn't want to be with you in a relationship, they simply don't want to be with you. Now, this kid is not holding her hostage, and he has told her that. He said, listen, if I'm simply not ready, and I see characteristics in you that I don't want a relationship yet, you cannot call me a narcissist and say that I'm prolonging a talking stage. That is manipulation. It is manipulation at its finest. Why? Because even if she's not doing it consciously, even if she's doing it subconsciously, because this is something that women do a lot. When women manipulate, and a lot of the times they don't even realize they're doing it. Women that are a little older finesse a little more because they're a lot more aware of what they're doing. So this young girl is telling him, oh, I read this online that narcissists prolong the talking stage. And this is something that you're doing amongst other traits. Okay, well, basically what she's saying to him is, you have a mental disorder. Not only do you have a mental disorder, you're prolonging this talking stage, and that's what people with this mental disorder does. And you're lacking empathy. Why? Why are you lacking empathy? Because you're not taking my feelings into consideration. Now, I gave an example of what lacking empathy is in narcissism. It is not saying, oh, because I know you want to be with me and I do like you and I am open to a relationship, but because I don't want to be with you yet, I'm a narcissist. That's not how that works. So now this kid is being manipulated, and he's being told he has a mental disorder by the girl that he likes and the girl that likes him, because he doesn't want to make her his girlfriend. That's not how that works. It is very simple. If someone doesn't want to be with you, if someone doesn't want to be in a relationship with you, you cannot force them, and you cannot manipulate them into telling them that they have a fucking mental disorder because they don't want to make you their girlfriend. That is manipulation at its finest. If I don't know what manipulation is, that is fucking manipulation. Then she says, oh, he lacks empathy. She said, you lack empathy, right? You lack empathy because you know that I care about you. You know that I like you. And you know that I want to be in a relationship with you. And because you're not taking my feelings into consideration by making me your girlfriend, you're lacking empathy for my feelings. Now, of course, these are young kids, right? These are young kids, and that's not exactly how that works. But this is the reasoning of a lot of women. And I would say, and I would give the excuse and say, well, these kids are young. They're 18, 19, whatever their age is, right? But I've heard this reasoning from grown ass women. I'm 29. I've heard this reasoning years ago from women in their 20s. I've heard this reasoning from women in their 40s, 50s, 60s. Like literally, there's a woman on TikTok. She's probably, well, she looks 80, and I'm not even trying to insult her, but some people age worse than others. She's probably in her 60s, and she's telling like people that they're dealing with narcissists. And the problem with this is a lot of people are being misinformed, and then they're running with it. And a lot of guys are being manipulated in this manner. You're being guilted. Like this young kid, for example. Now, he argued his points and he held his own pretty good. But this young kid, all of fucking 18 years old, is being guilted and manipulated into trying to being in a relationship by being called a narcissist, right? Completely out of context. Now, there are a lot of people that are going through this. There are a lot of people that are going through this. And uh and let's give a worse situation. There are times and situations where you'll have a woman that's crying, right? You have a woman that is crying for whatever reason. And this woman is crying for whatever reason, and they don't want to and the guy doesn't want to give into it. The guy doesn't want to give into it because he knows that, even if she's crying, if his mind is made up on something, or if he doesn't want to be with her, if he doesn't love her anymore, he's looking at showing a lack of empathy because he didn't give into it. Even furthermore, when you have women say that they will take their own life if you don't be with me, you have people that do that, men too, vice versa. And usually, in most cases, when somebody hits you with the "I'm going to take my life" card if you don't be with me, that usually buys them time. That usually makes the person feel guilty, because most people will say, "I feel bad and I feel sorry that you feel that way, and I want to prevent this person from doing that." And it makes it seems as if the power is in your hand. Their life is in your hand, because when you say, "If you leave me, I'm going to take my own life," well, like, damn, I feel bad. Now, if a person says, "I love you and I don't want you to do that, and I don't want you to take your own life, but I cannot be with you." Now you're a narcissist because you're lacking empathy. No, I do love you, and I cared about you, but I just don't want to be with you anymore. Now, at that point, it's not narcissism, because this person isn't lacking empathy. This person is trying to reason with you. This person is trying to talk to you. This person is trying to calm you down and speak to your reason so you don't do anything crazy. But now you're being manipulated. And now you can see where the manipulation is coming in. You're being guilted, right? And this goes back to a lack of accountability thing. Now, feel like most people in general lack accountability, but you'll find that it's really big amongst women. They will not take accountability for anything. Most, most. Now, there's always exceptions. You do have people that will, but this is something that I see in most women, even the most intelligent. And I feel, me personally, I usually attract a very intelligent woman, right? But what I specialize in is I'm a bullshit detector. I see it. I'm very good at reading people. I'm very intuitive when it comes to these certain things, right? I'm a bullshit detector. You can't bullshit me, right? So I see it, and I see the manipulation. And another little interesting fact to take into consideration, another reason why guys are being guilted, you'll have some women that will cry to get their way. You have some women that'll cry to get their way, and guys will fall for it. Another interesting fact, there is a pheromone, right? And this is very real. You can research it yourself. There is a pheromone in women's tears that lowers testosterone in men. Let me say that again. There is a pheromone in women's tears that lowers testosterone in men. This is an actual fucking fact, right? So, with that being said, if you have a female that can fake uh fake some tears, give you some alligator tears, and you add on to that with a guy that doesn't have that much experience with relationships. Maybe it's his first relationship. Maybe he's just a sucker. Maybe he doesn't have the heart to say no, right? And then he falls for that. Or let's say, even if the girl is genuinely crying and she's genuinely hurt and she genuinely just wants to be with this person, and she starts crying, and he breaks because he still loves her, but he just doesn't want to be with her. Then what? You are fucking being manipulated, right? You're being manipulated. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying if you don't want to be with somebody, you don't have to like you don't have to like you don't have to show them any type of concern. You can still show them, you can still be loving and caring, but you have to know when you're being guilted. You have to know when you're being guilted. You have to stop allowing yourself to be guilted. And it almost seems like, I think about this, like, why would God do that? Why would God Why would Allah put pheromones in a woman's tears that lowers a man's testosterone? That's a fucking fact. When I learned that shit, I'm like, holy fucking, are you serious? And if you have no awareness of this, dude, you're fucked. You wouldn't even understand because there are things that are going on biological you weren't even aware of. Like, holy shit. Right? That's like, what the fuck is going on? Right? And most guys aren't able to see the manipulation. Most guys aren't aware of it. Most guys don't even know this fucking element of fucking relationship dynamics even exist. And I promise you won't hear this shit nowhere else. I promise you. I promise you won't hear this shit nowhere else. I promise you for a fucking fact. You have to stop allowing yourself to be manipulated. You have to allow yourself. But what does that call for? That calls for knowing a person. That calls for setting standards. That calls for not allowing yourself to fall for the bullshit. Another situation. I have a coaching client, and he's dealing with a girl that he shouldn't be dealing with, right? He swears up and down the girl's fucking another guy. She's having sex with another guy. And I said, well, what are your indicators? What are your indicators that she's doing this? He said, I just know her. I'm like, well, he couldn't give me any indicators. Because usually when you suspect something about someone, you have some indicators, you have your reasonings, you have little things that you would see that would indicate that this person is, is doing said things. But I just know her. Okay, well, I can't go based off that. You come to me for coaching, you're paying me $240 a month. Well, listen, we're gonna do it my way because there are no refunds on that. So, motherfucker, you better listen and get on the board. But the point is, the girl that he's talking to, she'll hit him up, and this is guilt, right? And clear manipulation. Not necessarily calling him a narcissist, but these are other ways of manipulation. She'll say, "Oh, you're hurting my feelings. You don't care about me, or you don't love me." Right? This is very rudimentary too, right? You ever? Well, I don't know. Everybody's a little different, right? But when I was younger, if I was younger, I had a little girlfriend. They'd be like, "Oh, if you love me, you'll do it. If you like me, you'll do it. If you care about me, you'll do it." That's like very rudimentary grade school shit. If you love me, you'll do it type shit, right? Even guys do it too. This is how we used to do it. You want a girl to give you some head. Well, you said you love me, right? Yeah. Well, suck my dick. Like, what the fuck, right? It's like little forms. It's like grade school manipulation type shit. So, the girl's like, every time he does something that she doesn't like or approve of, she'll say, "Oh, you don't love me anymore. You don't care about me no more," right? What was the first thing he did? He was at work. And I said, listen, you need healthy space. While you're at work, leave her alone. Don't talk to her while you're at work and at the gym. And that was like a total of 4 to 5 hours. So when he finally texts her back, the girl says, you don't care about me. And he says, why do you say that? Well, I made him say that. Why do you say that? Oh, because you didn't text me. So because I was at work and I was at the gym and I didn't have time to text you, I don't love you or care about you. And she says, no, I'm not saying it. So that's exactly what you're saying. What are you saying? And girls did. And this is something that he's been dealing with. And I'm saying, why are you even sitting here dealing with this? But he has a whole nother goal and objective in mind with this girl. So I'm like, whatever, we'll handle it. So she said, oh, because you don't love me because you didn't text me for 5 hours. But meanwhile, before he started coaching with me, this girl wasn't even talking to him. And that's kind of his fault for other reasons, suffocating her, hanging out with her every day, talking to her all day, every day, literally all day, every day, having no healthy space, putting no scarcity on his attention, right? And I did a podcast. That was my last podcast. So the last podcast was about putting scarcity on your attention. So the girl's like, "Oh, you don't love me." So today, we're testing it out. He put up a story, and he said that what did he say? He said, "Oh, is it weird for a girl to buy a guy flowers. So he tells me she hits him up and says, "Oh, you just don't care about me, do you? You don't love me. Stop telling me you love me. You don't love me." He's like, "Well, what are you talking about? Oh, you have an interesting story." Are you fucking serious? So he doesn't love you because he put up a story saying, "Is it weird for a girl to buy a guy flowers?" Of course, she fell for it as bait and thought that a girl brought him flowers, but that's not necessarily the case. He's just asking a question to his followers on Instagram. But you can see the manipulation here. She wants him to feel bad for doing things that she doesn't approve of. It's not necessarily a bad thing. He's just asking a fucking question to his followers and asking them to vote on it. But women will do this all the time. They will do this all the time. Another thing is, especially another thing with Instagram, aside from this, when you like other girls' photos, that is, listen, if that's something you're dealing with, you need to cut that shit out ASA motherfucking P. If you're told that you can't like photos, and here's where the manipulation comes. Oh, it's disrespectful to me. You have me looking. How the fuck do I have you looking crazy by the shit that I like and the shit that I do and post on my Instagram? Oh, because other people, I don't give a fuck about what other people think. This is my Instagram. Listen, baby, we could be together. You don't like what I'm liking? Unfollow me. You don't have to follow me. It's very simple. Then if she hits you with, oh, I'm going to leave you, then we should just stop talking. This is what you hit her with. And you make her sound fucking crazy and stupid. You know what you say? You say, if you can leave me for liking photos, if you can leave me for posting something, if you can leave me for talking to another female, not even cheating, very small, minuscule things, you never loved me to begin with. So you go ahead and leave. And you let her go. Because that's not love. That's not somebody who cares about you. Not even in the fucking slightest bit. Not in the slightest bit. If they can leave you for something so small and minuscule, they never cared to begin with. And when you tell them that, they'll sit there and think about it. Wow, that sounds fucking crazy. Yeah, it does. Absolutely, it does. Because you're manipulating me. And really it's control. They're trying to control you. And they're trying to do a little power play to see if you're going to chase them. But the problem is most guys fall for the bait and they chase the girl. Oh no, please don't leave me. Please don't go. No, fuck that. You're gonna leave me because I'm liking pictures? You know what? Bye. Because you didn't never care to begin with. We're not playing those rudimentary, basic school playground rules. We're not doing that. And don't allow yourself to be manipulated. If it's unreasonable, if a girl follows you and she says, I don't want you to follow, I'm crying. And listen, I understand you're crying. And baby, I love you, but it's not a reason to cry. But I'm not unfollowing anybody. It is my Instagram, not yours. You're not about to control me. You're not about to tell me what to do. I don't tell, especially when you don't do that to that person. Especially when you say you don't control them. You don't fucking tell them what to do. You don't tell them who they can't and can talk to. You're not about to do that to me. I don't care how much you're crying. And that's not showing a lack of empathy because that's manipulation. That is very unreasonable. Okay, fine. I'll just give it. No, fuck that. This is my shit. My Instagram, not yours. You can do what the fuck you want on yours. I can understand if the girl's like, oh, you cheated on me. All right, cool. I'm sorry. I feel bad. And so we're dealing with that too. You know what I'm saying? I can understand if you said something and I heard it. Okay, baby, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Cool. It won't happen again. But you're talking about shit like what you post, or if I don't want to make you my girlfriend, I'm a narcissist. I'm showing lack of empathy because I'm not taking your feelings into consideration by making you my, get the fuck out of here. I'm liking pictures and that's embarrassing to you. That's manipulation. And that person's trying to follow you. That person's trying to control you. Oh, if you don't unfollow that girl, if you don't stop liking her pictures, I'm going to break up. All right, bye. That's not love. That's manipulation. And guys, you need to stop allowing yourself to be manipulated. It's not fun. It's not cool. It's not cute. And where that stems from is you motherfuckers have a very scarcity mindset. So when a girl says she's going to leave you and you just get all scared and start acting like a bitch and getting all of your feelings, it's the reason why. Stop allowing yourself to be manipulated. We're going to end this podcast off with J.O. Compete.
Look, I'm just out here on the road, I'm just trying to get this chase. Reminiscing about your body, how you put it all on me. When it's all said and done, you the one I'm trying to see. Yeah, them hoes cool, but against you they don't compete. Nah, they don't compete. Yup, when I get back home, best believe I'm trying to see. Yup, where you been all this time, baby girl, I need ya. Been with other women, but they really don't compete. Nah, they don't compete. Shorty cold, she bring winter to the summertime. I ain't trying to gas her, but she one of kind. Might be talking crazy, cause the pussy heavy on my mind. But every time I get a bad one, this happens all the time. But it don't feel the same, yeah, it feels different. My niggas say I'm bugging all the time and say I'm tripping. Try to give me mad advice.